Hello and welcome to Ginny's Gin Livestream. I'm Ginny, and along with my husband Rob and our dearest friends Amy and Jeff Close, we founded Ginny's Gin a few years back. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. It's going to be nice to have a 3-day weekend, and the weather's going to be fabulous here in Northern California. I'm actually very excited about these cocktails that I'm making. I'm going to make 2 cocktails today. Rob is on a plane on his way back from Florida, where he's had great success with Ginny's Gin. It's been very well received up and down Florida in a lot of the country clubs, and so it's been really great to get back out there on the road, in front of buyers, in front of customers, and he's obviously been selling our wine as well, the gravel pit wines. So he would do a lot of these winemaker dinners, and they like the idea of starting off the proceedings with a Ginny's Gin cocktail as well. So yeah, it's been a great couple of weeks for him, so that's awesome. And it looks as though we'll be going into Nevada soon as well. So we'll have some of those clubs in Vegas pouring Ginny's Gin. So that's exciting news. So obviously for those of you that watch on a regular basis, you know that we like to make very seasonal cocktails. And I've actually gone back to Rhubarb this week. It's looking great on the shelves, and as a lot of you know, it brings back memories for me when I was chopping it up. It just brings back memories of the garden and of my father in the garden, and me eating the raw rhubarb and just dipping it into sugar. So I'm very fond of rhubarb. So 2 different cocktails with the rhubarb and using it in a different way. The first one is a riff on a pre-prohibition cocktail, the Gin Rickety. So the Rickety is pretty easy to, the history behind it, you know, so many of these cocktails are shrouded in mystery, and, you know, people take credit for different things and what have you. But this one was easy. It was actually invented by a guy called Joe Rickety, and he was a Democratic lobbyist in Washington, D.C., and he liked zero sugar cocktails, and so he would just drink so it started out actually with bourbon. So he would drink his bourbon with a splash of club soda or sparkling water or whatever, and one day he asked his bartender to make it with a squeeze of fresh lime. And the Bourbon Rickety was born. So the Rickety sort of became fairly popular, and people would, you know, change their spirit of choice, if you like, out for the bourbon. And the Gin Rickety is what sort of survived and became the most popular, it seems. And so the Gin Rickety was, you know, just basically gin and lime juice and club soda or sparkling water. It was actually mentioned in the 1925 classic, The Great Gatsby, which I'm actually reading at the moment. It's pretty funny. Tom Buchanan, in the story, he served a tray of gin ricketies to his guests, and I've actually read that part so far. And I guess, you know, it's stayed on a lot of cocktail lists, you know, over the years. And with the renaissance of the cocktail, you know, era coming back and what have you, and with bartenders, you know, enjoying all these pre-prohibition classic cocktails. So I guess it was in 2011 that Washington, D.C. officially declared the Gin Rickety their official cocktail, DC's native cocktail. So that's kind of cool. So my riff on the Gin Rickety, actually, I'm going to use Estregin for this, and it does have a little, you know, sweetness to it, but I love the lime, which plays nicely with the rhubarb. So I started out by making a rhubarb and ginger simple syrup, and look at the colour of that, and it goes so perfectly with the label, obviously, all about colour. So I took the rhubarb and I chopped it up, basically. I think I took 1 big stalk, chopped it up into, like, you know, 1/2-inch pieces and what have you. Threw it in with 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of water with the rhubarb. I think I did a little extra water, actually. I didn't want it to be too sweet. And then I threw like a 1/2 inch of knob of ginger in there as well. And I chopped up the ginger, threw it in, and just let it, you know, brought it to a boil, and then let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And then I just took it off the stove and let it cool down for another 10 minutes while it's steeped. And I just love the ginger with the rhubarb. It really plays nicely together. So I'm excited about this one. And, you know, many of you may know that I'm not a huge cocktail, you know, sweet cocktail fan. I quite like my gin, you know, either straight up or in a gin and tonic or in a French 75. And I like things sort of fairly simple. And I don't, you know, Rob was very good at geeking out on all these great cocktails that he does, and fantastic. But I like mine sort of fairly basic, if you like. So I'm actually happy to say that this particular cocktail, it tastes delicious, and I was really excited about it. So yeah, I'm happy to share. So we are going to start out with 2 ounces of Ginny's gin, which is where we start out all the time. And because I have this really pretty glass and it's quite big, I'm actually going to double the recipe. So I'm going to do 4 ounces of Ginny's gin. I beg your pardon, Estregin. Here we go. Oh look, I only have 2 ounces in there, so I'm going to go get some more. 1 second. There's 2. Oh, that's all right, I got some here. Here we go. So normally you would do 2 for one cocktail, but I'm doubling this up because it's a big glass. There's the other 2 ounces of Estregin. And then I'm going to take the simple syrup, and I'm going to do an ounce, I think, of that. I'll do an ounce of the simple syrup. You can do it to taste, so whatever you fancy. I just want the colour in there. So I've done 4 ounces, and then I'm going to do 2 ounces because I'm doubling everything. So 4 of gin, 2 of the rhubarb ginger simple syrup. So let me get that out of the way. Look at that great colour. And then we're going to take the fresh lime. And I'm going to do, normally I would do 1 ounce of lime, but I'm doubling it. So I'm going to do 2 ounces of the fresh lime juice. And the lime, the rhubarb, and the ginger just all works really perfectly together. I was quite surprised. I was loving it. Okay, so fresh lime. So there's nearly 1. And as I say, I'm doubling, so I'm going for 2. And I'm going to need another lime. These are fairly small limes, so let me do that. Chuck that on there. Hope you guys are all going to have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. A lot of the kids are graduating next weekend. A lot of kids are already out of school. So I think there's some partying going on, which is fun. And we have a rising senior in high school and a rising junior in college. And I can't believe how quickly it's all going by. Yeah. It's taken a few bottles of gin to get them launched. Okay, so 2 ounces of the freshly squeezed lime. There we go. And so I'm just going to put some ice in there and stir it up. And I'm going to put the ice in the cup as well. I'm going to go get that out of the freezer. And we're just going to put a little San Pellegrino, some sparkling water, and that's my riff on the gin Rickety. I'll be right back with the ice. Okay. It's nice to be doing it right here in the kitchen. And normally, obviously, you know, at home, you should put your cocktail glasses in the freezer so that it doesn't dilute too quickly. And now we're going to put a few in here to cool this down. There we are. And give it a nice stir. Rhubarb, ginger, and lime. Really nice. And look at that colour. I'm loving it. Give it a good, 30 seconds so that it's nice and cold. And we're really moved in now. I think I've got most of the boxes unpacked. Most things are sort of fairly organised. Surprising how long it takes. Huh? So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Nearly done. And then all the stuff that needs to be in storage is. So here it is. And because it's made with Estregin, it's not actually going to be a rhubarb ginger gin Rickety. It's going to be a gin Rickety, because, after all, getting old, aren't we? Okay, so I love this garnish. So when you take the rhubarb, you can just sort of peel this back and get this wonderful ribbon of rhubarb. And then you'll just wind it around your finger, and there's your ribbon. And I have another one here as well. Here we go. So ribbons of rhubarb. I just love the look of that. It looks so pretty. Check it out. All right, so that's the Estregin Gin Rickety. And the next one I'm going to do is a slightly different way of dealing with the rhubarb. And then I'm also introducing fennel. I was actually on a run, and I was running along the road, and there's just all this fennel all over the place. And I'm like, I've got to use some fennel in one of the cocktails. So, and fennel and rhubarb, surprisingly, go really well together. Who knew? So, here's another one. So I'm going to just wash this. There we go. Okay, so we're going to, to start with, what I did was I took it was a quarter of a bowl of the fennel, and I just chopped it up into pieces like that, you can see. And I infused some vermouth for about 2 days. So this is the vermouth, which is now infused with the fennel, and it's herbaceous, and it just smells delicious, and it works really, really nicely with the rhubarb. So that's the vermouth. There's the fennel. Now, with this particular, the way I did it with to make the simple syrup, or it's more of it's actually quite syrupy. So I took the rhubarb and I chopped it up, and I think it was like, what did I do? Like a cup of chopped rhubarb, like 1/2-inch pieces, something like that. And then I took the simple syrup and, so like a cup of syrup, a cup of water, got the rhubarb infused there. And I let it sort of infuse for quite a long time so that it was really very syrupy. And I ended up with this syrup, lovely, yummy rhubarb syrup, simple syrup. So we've got our fennel-infused vermouth. We're going to start again with, now this time we're going to use Ginny's gin. And I'm going to start with 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Okay. So I'm just getting used to where we are living now and running, and where I'm, where we can go to. So 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. There it is. And, oh, guess what I didn't do with the Ricky? I didn't put the the sparkling water in there. I'm supposed to top it off with sparkling water. So sorry about that. Don't listen to me. There we go. So there's the sparkling. There we go. Now it's a gin Ricky. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to do 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Then I'm going to do 2 ounces of lemon juice this time. And a lemon squeezer. Cut the ends off and then cut them in half. And it just makes for a easier squeezing situation. All right, so there's one, so I should get another ounce out of the other half. All right, voila, there's the lemon. I've got a couple of pips in there, so I will get my strainer. Okay, so 2 ounces of Ginny's gin, 2 ounces of the lemon juice. There we go. And then I'm going to do 1 ounce of the rhubarb puree. So as you can see, it's quite, I let it puree for, oh, so, I forgot to tell you. So, you got the simple syrup and the rhubarb and the water, and they're all syrupy and what have you, but there's still some sort of solids with the rhubarb. So I just pureed this. I put it in one of those immersion blenders and did it that way, or you can put it in a regular blender if you want to. With the other simple syrup, I just strained it and let it, and I didn't press down on the solids or anything. So it's just a different way of doing it. I just strained the solids out, basically. Okay, so there is the syrup. Quite different, huh? There's that, with the lemon juice. Okay, move that to the side. And now we're going to add the fennel-infused vermouth. And we're going to do, so we did two, what did we do? 2, 2, and 1. And I'm going to do 4 ounces of the fennel-infused vermouth, which seems like a lot. So I'm curious, because the other one I made and I tasted and loved it, and I didn't have time to taste this. So I'm actually kind of curious to see how that is. You know, one could not do all 4 ounces of the vermouth, depending on how I mean, it makes a less strong cocktail, which is nice, you know, if you have to maintain. So I'm going to see what this is like. You could always play with the ratios, obviously. So I'm going to do 2 and 2. So I'm actually doing 4 and this. Yeah. So you've got the sweet and sour of the rhubarb, and then you've got the herbaceous fennel. That's fun. All right, let's give this a good shake. Get it nice and cold. All right, there it is. And as we say, you know, keep your cocktail glasses in the freezer, keep your shakers in the freezer. So this is like a rocks glass. You can put it in a highball if you want to, but I like this glass, and so I decided to use this one. And fill it with ice. And then we're going to strain this out. The fennel rhubarb. Look at that. Okay. I'm excited to try it. And I'm just in love with the rhubarb ribbons, so I'm going to use those again. Sorry. Look at these. It's so much fun. Oh, look at that. So, 2 rhubarb cocktails. One with ginger and one with fennel. Quite different, and I'm excited to taste them. So, cheers to Memorial Day weekend. Cheers to Rob getting back and having great success in Florida. Thank you, John Burke, who is our distributor there. He just started this distributorship, and I'm super excited for him. And it's called Allocated. If you live in Florida, please ask for the gin, and hopefully we can get it into a bunch of stores where you'll be able to enjoy it, and country clubs and restaurants and bars. So I've already tasted this one. It's really good. So I'm going to taste the fennel infused now. So it's almost like a gift, isn't it, with the ribbon. So cheers to the long day, the 3-day weekend, and let me see what it's like. Ooh, oh, that's actually really good. Yum. Okay, I'm liking that. And I love this one too. Cheers. Gosh, I'm going to be asleep by the time Rob gets home. Delish. Okay, guys, have fun experimenting with those, and have a great weekend. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week, next Friday. Cheers. Bye.